My child. The question was never supposed to be asked that night. The answer was never supposed to leave the shadows. And the truth hidden for years was never supposed to reach another soul. But once it did, nothing in that family was ever the same again. Listen carefully. Because this story carries a message that feels far too personal to be a coincidence. The evening seemed ordinary from the outside. The family had gathered after a long celebration, laughter floated through the house, conversations moved from one room to another, and everyone believed they understood each other's lives. Yet beneath the surface, a secret had been living quietly for years. A secret connected to you. Your person had spent so much of their life hiding it that even those closest to them never fully understood why they made certain choices, why they walked away from opportunities others would have embraced, why every relationship that entered their life somehow ended before reaching the altar. Their parents assumed they were being too selective. Friends claimed they feared commitment. Relatives whispered that perhaps they were waiting for someone impossible. No one knew the truth. No one except your person. As the evening continued, their brother noticed something unusual. Your person's eyes drifted away whenever marriage was mentioned. It had happened countless times before, but this time curiosity became stronger than politeness. He waited until most family members left the room. Then he sat beside your person and asked the question everyone had wondered about but never dared to say directly. Why didn't you ever marry anyone else? The room became strangely quiet. Your person smiled at first, hoping the conversation would move on. But their brother didn't let it go. No, seriously, he said. You've had chances. Good people wanted a future with you. Everyone knows that. So why didn't it happen? For a moment your person stared at the floor. Years of memories rushed through their mind. Moments they had buried. Promises they had never spoken aloud. Dreams they had never confessed. And at the center of all of it was you. Don't skip. Their brother expected a simple answer. Maybe a joke. Maybe an excuse. Instead, he watched your person's expression change completely. The smile disappeared. Their eyes carried a weight he had never noticed before. Finally, your person took a slow breath. Because every time I tried to move on, they said quietly, something reminded me of them. Their brother frowned. Them? Who? Your person looked away. The name almost escaped their lips. But even after all those years, speaking about you felt dangerous. Not because of fear. Because of the emotions that still existed. Their brother laughed lightly. You're talking about someone from the past? Your person nodded. The laughter stopped immediately. Because the look in their eyes revealed this wasn't a simple childhood crush or an old relationship they occasionally remembered. This was something deeper. Something powerful enough to shape an entire future. Something powerful enough to stop marriages before they began. Their brother leaned forward. You never told anyone about this. I know. Who were they? Again, silence. And then your person said something that instantly changed the atmosphere in the room. They were the only person who ever felt like home. The words hit harder than expected. Their brother stared at them in disbelief. Years suddenly started making sense. The canceled engagements. The failed relationships. The unexplained sadness. The constant feeling that your person was physically present but emotionally somewhere else. All of it pointed back to one person. You. Don't skip. What happened? Their brother asked. Your person closed their eyes. What happened is that life got in the way. The answer sounded simple. But behind those words lived an entire lifetime of pain. Because there had been a time when your person truly believed you would end up together. There had been a time when imagining a future without you felt impossible. There had been a time when your name brought immediate happiness. Back then everything felt certain. Or at least it seemed that way. The connection between you wasn't built overnight. It grew slowly. Naturally. Through moments that appeared ordinary to everyone else but meant everything to the two of you. Conversations that lasted longer than intended. Silences that felt comfortable instead of awkward. Understanding that required no explanation. The kind of bond people spend their entire lives searching for. Your person remembered all of it. Every detail. Every smile. Every look. Every promise hidden between words. The memories never disappeared, not once. Not even after years passed. Not even after distance grew. Not even after circumstances forced different paths. Their brother listened carefully. For the first time, he wasn't hearing a story about an old love. He was hearing the story of a wound that never healed. You still think about them? He asked. Your person's answer came instantly. Every day. The room fell silent again. Because those two words carried more truth than anything else said that night. Every day. Not sometimes. Not occasionally. Every day. Imagine carrying someone's memory through every season of your life. Imagine meeting new people while secretly comparing them to one person. Imagine standing at the edge of marriage and realizing your heart still belongs somewhere else. That was the reality your person lived. And no one knew. Until now. Don't skip. Their brother struggled to understand. Then why didn't you go after them? A painful smile appeared. You think I didn't try? Those words revealed another layer of the story. Because what their family never understood was that your person had fought harder than anyone realized. They had searched for signs. Waited for opportunities. Held on to hope long after logic suggested letting go. More than once they believed destiny was bringing you back together. More than once they thought the timing had finally arrived, and every time something happened. A missed chance. A misunderstanding. Distance. Fear. Circumstances neither of you could control. The result was always the same. Separation. Not because love wasn't there, but because life seemed determined to test it. Their brother sat speechless. He had never heard such honesty from your person before. Then he asked the question that would change everything. If they walked through that door right now, what would you do? Your person's eyes filled with emotion. Not dramatic emotion. Not theatrical emotion. The kind that comes from years of carrying something too heavy alone. The kind that appears when truth finally escapes, and after a long pause, they answered. I'd stop pretending. The word struck like lightning. Because suddenly their brother realized something shocking. Your person hadn't spent years moving on. They had spent years pretending they moved on. Those were not the same thing. Not even close. The difference between the two changed everything. Every relationship after you had simply been an attempt to build a future while carrying a past that refused to leave. Every smile had hidden longing. Every celebration had hidden sadness. Every new beginning had been haunted by an old ending. And the person responsible for all of it was you. Don't skip. Their brother shook his head in disbelief. You're telling me all these years later, if they came back, you'd still choose them? The answer arrived without hesitation. Yes. No uncertainty. No confusion. No need to think. Just yes. A single word. Yet it explained an entire lifetime. Because real feelings don't always disappear with time. Sometimes they grow quieter. Sometimes they hide. Sometimes they wait. But they remain. And your person had spent years discovering that truth. The brother leaned back in his chair. For the first time, he understood why nothing else ever worked. Why every relationship felt incomplete. Why every attempt at moving forward somehow led backward. The answer had always been the same. Your person never found someone who made them forget you. And deep down, they never wanted to. As the night continued, more family members slowly returned to the room. None of them knew the conversation that had just taken place. None of them understood that a secret buried for years had finally been spoken aloud. But they noticed something different about your person. The burden they carried seemed lighter. The mask they wore seemed weaker. For the first time in a very long time, they looked like someone who had stopped running from the truth. Yet the biggest revelation was still coming. Because their brother wasn't finished asking questions. And the next answer would shock him even more than the first. When he looked directly into your person's eyes and quietly asked, what was so special about them? Your person smiled. And what they revealed next left him completely speechless. Don't skip. The question hung in the air long after it was spoken. What was so special about them? Everyone in the room continued their conversations, unaware that a lifetime of hidden emotions was about to be revealed. Your person's brother waited patiently, expecting an answer he could understand. Maybe you were exceptionally beautiful. Maybe you were successful. Maybe there had been some dramatic love story that separated two people who wanted the same future. But your person slowly shook their head. It wasn't one thing. Their brother frowned. Then what was it? Your person looked toward the window, as if searching for words hidden somewhere beyond the darkness outside. They saw me. The answer sounded almost too simple. Yet the moment those words left their mouth, emotion filled their voice in a way their brother had never heard before. Lots of people looked at me, your person continued. Lots of people talked to me. Lots of people claimed they knew me. But they were different. They saw the parts of me I never showed anyone else. Their brother remained silent. Because suddenly this wasn't about romance anymore. It was about understanding. The rare kind of understanding that only happens once in a lifetime. Your person remembered moments nobody else would have considered important. Times when they were smiling while secretly struggling. Times when they said they were fine even when they weren't. Somehow you always noticed. Somehow you always knew when something was wrong before they spoke a single word. You understood their silences. You understood their fears. You understood the dreams they were afraid to admit out loud. And that kind of connection became impossible to replace. Don't skip. Their brother swallowed hard. So that's why nobody else measured up. Your person immediately shook their head. No. The answer surprised him. No. No. That's not why. Now confusion filled his face. Then why? Your person smiled sadly. Because I never wanted anyone else to become them. The room seemed to grow quieter. For years people assumed your person compared every new relationship to you. But that wasn't exactly true. The truth was even deeper. Whenever someone new entered their life, they tried their best to give that person a fair chance. They genuinely wanted to move forward. They wanted to believe happiness could be found somewhere else. But every time they got close to building a future, something happened. A conversation would remind them of you. A song would bring back a memory. A laugh would sound familiar. A place would trigger emotions they thought were gone. And suddenly they would realize something painful. They weren't searching for another version of you, they were searching for the feeling they only experienced with you. And that feeling never returned. Not once. Not with anyone. Years passed. People came and went. Life continued moving forward. But the absence remained. Like a missing piece nobody else could replace. Don't skip. Their brother stared at the floor. He was beginning to understand why marriage never happened. Because marriage requires certainty. And your person's heart had never fully left the place where you existed. Then he asked another question. Did they know? The word struck your person harder than expected. For a moment they couldn't answer. Because this question touched the deepest wound of all. Did you know? Did you ever realize how much you meant to them? Did you understand what lived behind their smiles? Did you notice the way they looked at you? Did you see the future they secretly imagined? The truth was complicated. Maybe you knew. Maybe you suspected. Maybe circumstances prevented the conversation from ever happening. Or maybe both of you spent years protecting feelings neither had the courage to fully reveal. Your person finally exhaled. I don't know. Their brother blinked. You don't know? No. After all this time? Your person nodded. I never truly knew. That answer carried enormous regret, because one of the hardest things a person can live with is uncertainty. Rejection hurts. Loss hurts. Goodbyes hurt. But uncertainty creates a different kind of pain. A pain that never completely ends because questions remain unanswered. And your person had spent years wondering, what if things had happened differently? What if the timing had been better? What if fear hadn't interfered? What if one conversation had gone another way? What if destiny had given both of you one more chance? Those questions followed them everywhere. Every birthday. Every holiday. Every major life event. Every quiet night. Every lonely moment. The questions never stopped. Don't skip. Their brother sat motionless. The story was becoming heavier with every answer. Then he noticed something unusual. Your person's eyes weren't filled with bitterness. There was sadness. There was longing. There was regret. But there was no anger. That realization led to another question. Do you blame them? Your person answered instantly. No. Again the answer came without hesitation. No. Their brother looked confused. Not even a little. Your person smiled softly. How could I blame someone for circumstances neither of us controlled? For the first time, their brother understood the depth of this love. Because true love doesn't always look like possession. Sometimes it looks like understanding. Sometimes it looks like wishing someone happiness even when it isn't with you. Sometimes it looks like carrying beautiful memories instead of resentment. And despite everything that happened, your person never hated you. Not once. Even during the hardest years. Even during the nights when loneliness felt unbearable. Even during moments when they questioned everything. They never turned you into a villain. Because their heart refused to rewrite the truth. The truth was simple. You mattered. You still mattered. And some part of them suspected you always would. Don't skip. The conversation might have ended there. But fate had other plans. Because at that exact moment, another family member entered the room and noticed the serious expressions. What are you two talking about? Their brother laughed nervously. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Curiosity immediately spread. More relatives drifted closer. Questions followed. Before long, the conversation that started between two people became something much bigger. And for the first time ever, your person's secret existed in the open. The attention made them uncomfortable. Years of silence are difficult to break. Yet something inside them had changed. Maybe they were tired of hiding. Maybe they were tired of pretending. Maybe they simply reached the point where truth felt easier than carrying another lie. Whatever the reason, they stopped avoiding the questions. One relative asked whether they ever regretted waiting. Another asked if they still hoped for a reunion. Someone else asked whether they believed in soulmates at all. The room became completely focused on them. Every eye watched. Every ear listened. And then came the question nobody expected. An older relative leaned forward and quietly asked, "If you could send them one message tonight, and you knew they would hear it, what would you say?" The room fell silent again. Completely silent. Even their brother stopped breathing for a moment. Because everyone sensed something important was about to happen. Your person lowered their eyes. The answer wasn't immediate. It came from somewhere deep. Somewhere protected. Somewhere untouched by time. When they finally spoke, their voice barely rose above a whisper. "I'd tell them thank you." Several relatives looked confused. "Thank you? After all the heartbreak? After all the years? After all the unanswered questions?" Your person nodded. "Yes. Thank you." They smiled through emotions they could no longer hide. Because even though things didn't happen the way I hoped, knowing them changed my life. Loving them changed me. The memories stayed. The lessons stayed. The hope stayed. They became part of who I am. Tears appeared in more than one pair of eyes around the room. Because everyone understood they were witnessing something rare. Not obsession. Not fantasy. Not an inability to move on. But gratitude. The kind that survives disappointment. The kind that survives distance. The kind that survives time. Don't skip. Then something happened that nobody saw coming. Their brother reached into his pocket. His expression suddenly changed. He looked nervous. Almost hesitant. Your person noticed immediately. "What is it?" The brother stared at his phone. For several long seconds he said nothing. Then he slowly looked up. "There might be something you should know." The atmosphere shifted instantly. Every person in the room sensed it. Your person's heart began beating faster. "What do you mean?" The brother swallowed hard. "About a month ago, I heard something." The room froze. Your person's expression changed completely. "What did you hear?" His hands tightened around the phone. He seemed unsure whether to continue. But once everyone was staring at him, there was no turning back. Finally he spoke. "It involves them." The moment those words left his mouth, your person's entire world seemed to stop. Because after years of silence, after years of wondering, after years of unanswered questions, a truth connected to you was finally about to emerge. And what the brother revealed next would leave the entire family absolutely stunned.